This week, the grain market had a lot of news to deal with. Not only did it have the export sales numbers that were released on Thursday, but it also had an opportunity to react to last week's Pro Farmer Crop Tour. To talk about all of this, Eric Osterhaus, Paragon Ag Advisor, Silver Lake, Kansas, joins us now. You know, there on Wednesday, Eric, it was, we took that corn market. In December corn, there was a line drawn in the sand at 363. We got within a half penny of that. That 363 was kind of a big deal because we haven't been that low since May. So that would have been a contract low since May. Soybeans had 855 on the November contract as kind of a level of support, or at least a line in the sand, I should say. We went down and even got below that, but then things kind of firmed up and turned around. Did that flush out the last little bit of some of the really hardcore bears in this market, do you think? Or was there something else? I know that we had the tweet from President Trump who said that he was going to fix this biofuel issue. That seemed to add a little bit of fuel to the fire, but it had to be more than just that.
Well, I think that certainly helped. You know, after basically the bloodletting that we've had here over the last month, again, you knew that you would have premium come out of that market, and then the technical traders would take over for a while and push it even lower. And again, to see them come right down to what's been the contract lows and the technical support, and then pause on really any excuse, which, you know, maybe in this case it was Trump announcing that something's going to be done on the ethanol side. Maybe also the fact that we're getting closer and closer to that September USDA report, even though it may not have any exciting news necessarily. But it's just enough. Again, we've fallen far enough. We're not at harvest yet. There still is an underlying uncertainty and disbelief out there regarding the yields and the acres that are out there. So again, if you're a technical trader especially, or let's just say a computer, and you're approaching those technical support levels and you're on the right side, at some point you want to take a little risk off the table.
Well, some did. There was even follow through on Thursday, which was kind of impressive. But I keep hearing the F word tossed around in the markets, and that was the word frost or freeze. We're not at that point yet, but if you take into consideration just how far behind this corn crop is, especially how far behind the soybean crop is, especially in some of those northern states, man, that's got to be one of the factors the trade has got to start taking into consideration now that we're getting ready to get into September.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, again, we obviously can see what the market can do if you're on the wrong side. And that frost issue certainly is something that's hanging out there. Not to mention, if you look at the weather pattern we've still been seeing, it seems to be continuing in a lot of areas with this fairly wet and generally cooler temperatures. What if that happens the next 60 or 90 days and keeps pushing our harvest out further and further as everything stays wet in the field? I mean, there's a variety of things that we still have to get through out there in regards to this crop. And certainly if you're heavily short the market at this point, you're paying attention to those things.
Okay, let's talk about basis a little bit here and what you're hearing from the country. Do we still have a lot of corn kind of stored up, kind of being held back here at this point? The reason I ask that is because of the market action we saw earlier in the week. And then, of course, what happened later in the week, you know, after Tuesday, you take some of these people that were still holding on to corn. They had to do some pretty fancy footwork here to kind of keep from really going backwards, unless you want to pay storage and go all the way into 2020 and roll the dice and wait and see what the combine has to say about this yield.
Yeah, that's the debate that's out there. And you know there's still bushels hanging around out there in bins and maybe even commercial storage. And again, I know folks are doing the math. They're looking at their cost of storage and the cost of money by not selling, of course, and looking at basis as, you know, again, a reason to sell or not sell. And I think you're seeing basis generally on old crops stay pretty firm across most areas, especially in those areas a little hard hit. And so there is a reason to move some grain if you're feeling like basis before harvest has more of a chance of widening out, even if just temporarily. And I think a lot of guys and folks are out there juggling that, trying to decide, again, just as you said, do I go long on this thing and continue to hold pay those storage and interest costs? Do I take the basis that I'm seeing right now before harvest, just in case it is a better harvest season than what it may appear right at the moment? So I know there's a lot of things out there, and you got a lot of producers trying to juggle these.
Well, so many producers really thought that, this crop doesn't look good, that maybe we ought to hold on to some stuff, have something to sell in 2020 at a different price. But nonetheless, my goodness, who'd have thought we'd get here? And we still don't know all the answers just yet. Well, some of the answers reside at Paragon Ag Advisors. What's that web address?
It's www.myagadvisor.com.
Okay, Eric. Remember, everybody, markets closed on Monday. Be sure and stay tuned. We'll be back with more right after this.